yeah, so I was a shell of a person, and the crippling anxiety was holding me back so much that I couldn't even feed myself. And I had all of these pains throughout my body and had no idea what was causing them. I went to the doctor probably once or twice a week trying to figure out what was wrong with me. And the doctor just kept saying, it's just anxiety causing all of this to flare up. And I just like, I don't believe you. I've got like pains in my chest. I think I'm having a heart attack. And every single day, I couldn't even sleep. I was just shaking, constantly shaking. And it was just wave after wave of what's wrong with me, what's wrong with me, something's wrong with me, something's wrong with my body. I feel unsafe in my body. And then I started working with you, and the change and the learning how to trust and just working through each part and each pain, figuring out what was causing each pain and what it was trying to tell me. And it was a wonderful experience to be able to uncover all of that and have the opening of myself again.
Mm-hmm.
Being able to see all the parts that needed to be looked at, which you helped me uncover. And I managed to elevate so much past where I was before I went into this hole of anxiety, to the point where I could speak to new people. My social anxiety went as well, and I was able to function again. And I had such a elevated mindset after working with you for a few months, just a few months. It was incredible how I just turned around. I started feeling authentic, and my art came to life, and oh, it was it was incredible watching myself turn into a whole new version of me, a whole new version that was new, but just it was like getting to know my true self, because under all of that anxiety there was somebody who just wanted to create, wanted to make friends, wanted to just express, but she was so buried. And with your work, it was like all of that stuff just came off of me, and I was able to just be liberated from it. And I got to work with new people. I got headhunted to be in a little student film. And then the next year, I got to do another one with them. And I started an Instagram account where I was documenting just art and nature and fashion. And that grew to 35,000 followers. And it was just, I've never seen so much, like, so much improvement in a person and so much elevation. And to see it in myself was just, I never thought it would be possible. But yeah, there's a lot more, but that's kind of how much I've got at the moment.
It's amazing. And I remember looking at your Instagram when we first met, and you had 350 followers, which, fantastic. And you'd already poured so much loving energy into it. You're already, showing your beautiful designs in nature, very whimsical, very beautiful. And then we started working on like the I guess the guilt and the fears and beliefs you had around not finishing things and therefore not being good enough. And so just all these fears of being seen and so many like inner intricate feelings. And then all of a sudden you messaged me one day and you went, Kai, my Instagram just blew up to 11,000. And I didn't get your message until like, I think the next day. And by that time, it had gone up to something like 22,000. And then by the time our first 3 or 4 months together was over, it went up to 27,000. And now, yeah, you're in the 30,000s.
Yeah, it was quite a growth, and it was just such a quick turnaround from start to finish in a matter of months. how much I grew and was able to shift my mindset to accept that new reality.
Mm-hmm.
It was just incredible.
And the funny thing is like so many people, it's so easy. Like we want these like big results, like the Instagram following and things like that. So people would go through all these things to try to get them, but we weren't even focused on that at all. We didn't even talk about it. Actually, we talked about everything else, like fears of being seen, any guilt, and all the other little things about self-worth and visibility stuff, and then boom. And not only do you have followers actually engaged, I see it. They love. I mean, your account is beautiful. What is your ID? What is your account name?
Aurora Faye with an
Aurora
underscore.
Faye _. Yeah. Yeah, it's absolutely beautiful. And it was just like the cherry on top. And now
Mm,
I love that you've got a new problem now, which is that now you have too many orders in your business and feel a bit overwhelmed about how to do it, which whereas before when we started, what was your business like before?
it was basically non-existent. I had just started creating this Instagram page to be able to eventually promote my products, and just the byproduct of our work and having it grow, it just gave me such a great platform to jump off of and launch my business. And it was just fantastic. And now I am absolutely drowning in orders.
It's a much better problem to have though, isn't it?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
And now we just work on now the next level of fears, and then you elevate your personality yet again to be able to handle it, to be able to hold it. And so yeah, this is just that next level of work to do.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
Since we're on a roll, what else? There was also yeah, the big one for me was that you had agoraphobia and you felt unsafe to leave your mum and sisters because you live at home with them, and you always had this irrational fear that something really bad would happen. So we had to do quite a few sessions working through that. And so then what was the change from before and after?
The change is, it was life changing, the change completely. I never thought that that would ever be fixed. I had always had this anxiety of if I stayed away for a night, away from home, away from my family, something awful would happen either to me or to them, and I wouldn't be close enough to get back to them in time. And that was just like something that was really ingrained. And we ended up doing some past life work on it. And oh, it made so much sense. It made so much sense to the fact that I was able to unpick it and understand it. And now I've been to Italy for for a long weekend. That was amazing. Went to Tuscany and Florence, and it was beautiful. And now I'm house sitting in this gorgeous barn conversion for my sister while she's away, and it's just me and the cat.
I love that. And beforehand, you could hardly even leave at all.
I couldn't. No, I was just stuck. I couldn't even go on sleepovers as a kid. My first ever sleepover I tried to do, I had a panic attack and was up all night with their parents and I didn't sleep at all throughout that night because I was just so panicked. And this was when I was probably about 6. And every single time I tried to do a sleepover, the same thing would happen over and over again. I'd just have a panic attack, think I was getting ill, or I'd be worried about my parents, and I'd just have such a like attachment anxiety and fear of being away from home. It just it completely ruined parts of my childhood, to be honest. I didn't get to have the experiences that other kids did,
Mm-hmm.
like trips away with school overnight. Never did any of those because I just could not, like, I would just be disruptive and I couldn't deal with the anxiety that came up every time I went away. So yeah, I missed out on a lot, but with your work, I can now do adult things as an adult. I can enjoy adult things. I can go traveling, I can be away and be by myself as well and feel safe in my own body. and not have to worry so much because you taught me how to trust.
Yeah, and that was one of the biggest things. The before I hit record, one of the first things that you said was that you were so depressed that you could hardly move, and you were constantly having pains in your body that you just will freak you out. And you literally came to me telling me that you were convinced that you were about to die, and we had to work through that. So would you just walk, well, since we're recording now, walk everyone through how bad it was before, just so that, because you're bright and shining, and like people aren't going to believe that you were ever in the state that you were before now.
You should totally put in the first video consultation we had, because that was the turnaround, the difference. um I was in a very dark place, the darkest I have ever been, and I was scared every single day. I was just like this, hugging myself, because I didn't even feel safe in my own skin. And I felt like everything was out to get me. And also, everything inside me was trying to kill me. And I felt generally every single day like I was dying, like something was eating away at me, like a cancer or a heart attack or maybe a brain tumor. I was just constantly worried with this health anxiety, which I named it. And it got so bad that I was visiting the doctor constantly, and had to I had to refrain from actually calling the doctor every single day, because it got so bad that I could not trust anything. I just wanted them to check and check again, and then double check and then triple check. And it got ridiculous. It got so ridiculous. And I was just, I felt so unsafe and scared. And honestly, I didn't know what to do. I didn't know if I'd ever get better. Every single day, I'd be like going to my mum, especially with my like attachment issues. I'd depend on her, and it was getting a lot for her, because I'd go up to her and I'd be like, I think I've got this. I think I'm dying. And I'm shaking in her doorway. I'm shaking like to the point where I feel like I'm going to pass out, because I'm so scared that I've got this new thing that I think I've got. And I was just a completely different person to who I am right now.
Yeah, people just can't, they just would not be able to believe the difference. Like you were like really hunched over, really a shell, really like like you were literally shaking, you were terrified. It was
Mm-hmm.
on, and like, but these are very real experiences that people go through, people can get stuck in this stuff for, I mean, forever really, if they don't come up on the right way to change it, because people think they need to medicate themselves out of this. So I think that's one thing I'd love to talk about. Like, what was a shift from thinking that you needed to see an actual doctor to help you with pills or whatever else it was that the doctor could possibly do, to then realizing that, wait there, this is all emotional, as outlandish as that can sound for something that sounds so physical? What would you say to people that still just can't wrap their head around that their physical stuff could be emotional?
You know what? My doctor was so patient with me that every single time I went here in, he would constantly say, "This is anxiety. You need to do stuff emotionally." And he would literally point at his head like this and say, "Emotionally. Like, you need to go to therapy." I was like, "Yeah, but there's something wrong." He was like, "Yeah, but it's all being caused in your head." And it took me a while, but I got there in the end. And instead of going to a therapist, I went to you.
Hmm.
And yeah, you helped me unpack every single pain and every single issue, and we delved deep into every cell of my being, really, to uncover where this anxiety was coming from and why it was so bad.
Mm-hmm. And then I think the last session we had, like, because we uncover these like the past life one was amazing. Like we uncover these things that you just don't know are there. You wouldn't even imagine. And the last one we did was this experience that you didn't, I don't think you even knew that it was a thing, about something that happened to you as a child that made you feel like no one would fight for you and so you weren't worthy. And we went and we literally transformed it from this heaviness in your body to this big rainbow prismatic experience where you finally knew you were fully worthy.
Yeah, that was a beautiful expansion. It was, I have struggled a lot with the worthiness wound and understanding that we're all worthy just as we are, just because we were born. It was quite a hard thing to believe, I guess, because of how many times you're told, oh, you're not good at this, you can't possibly be that, you're not good enough at this, how could you even think that you're capable of it? It's being told that as a child is debilitating. It can completely stump you. And being able to go back and look at that and be able to communicate with that child version of me and be able to really just rewrite it
And
or
rescue
just
her.
it there. Yeah, it was just wonderful because obviously there's still different layers to it, but I can feel the difference every single time, how the worthiness wound is just so healing.
Mm.
And I feel more worthy of receiving things now and
Yeah.
being someone.
And I think it was because I know your business had started picking up by that point, but just after we did that session, you had this immense boost in your business.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was incredible. It was the shift in the mindset that did everything, because it just changed the energy around me. The receiving energy was just purified, I suppose, by the healing of the worthiness wound, because I felt more worthy of receiving larger orders, more orders, and just being comfortable in my own skin enough to have things, but
Yeah.
just have things.
Yeah. I remember because we had to work through issues where you actually thought you didn't deserve it because you had a pattern of not finishing things. And I think
Mm.
we worked around helping you feel safe, not to always have to finish things and not to judge yourself on the things that you didn't finish, which then I think allowed you to actually finish things.
Yeah, I was named in the household as so 80%, because I never finished anything. I would start a project and then get to about 80% and go, I really feel like finishing it now. And it would happen with everything. And I was absolutely terrified of starting anything after that, because I'm just 80%. I'm never going to finish it. What's the point in starting? So
Mm.
it was just this over and over again. And it kept getting implemented more into me because of the fact that I was creating that reality, because of how I thought it should be.
Yeah.
But when we worked on that, I've completed so much now. So much. It's incredible. I'm just every day I'm completing something, and I don't ever think I'm 80% anymore.
That's amazing. I love that. And then I think the next thing that comes to mind is beforehand, the friend group. Beforehand, you didn't really have any friends, and through getting headhunted for that indie film and going to star in that, and you made a group of friends, and then you made another friend, and you just would you talk about the difference between before and after with that, please?
Oh yeah. Um, well, I didn't really have anybody. I had my school friends, and by that point, I had one friend from college and my school friends, which I was slowly drifting away from because we didn't see each other anymore. So I just had one friend, and I barely saw them because I was just too anxious to go outside, and I didn't feel comfortable with them being in my house. And then after some work, I think it was only 2 months in with our work, And I got headhunted through my Instagram account by a student filmmaker in my area who wanted me to be basically the co-star in their film. And I met so many people through that. And honestly, before our work, I would not have even considered saying yes, ever. No. Even before my anxiety like really got bad, I wouldn't have said yes. It was something I wouldn't have even considered before. But because we worked on my social anxiety and all my other wounds and feelings of worthiness, I was able to actually go, you know what? I would actually like to do this. I actually feel like I can communicate with these people and actually form some friendships. And you know what? I think I can be social and I have the ability to be in a group and be surrounded by complete strangers and do something completely different. So I did, and it was, I've not experienced anything like it, but I definitely would do that 100 times more. It was so much fun, and I really, really proved myself that I had completely just shifted, and it was a magical experience. And I also met a few other people, like just through my Instagram account, because I got to work through all of it, build my Instagram account, and also have the confidence to meet people in real life off of the internet. I've made so many friends, and those friendships were just fantastic.
I love that. And so what would you say to people who are watching who are like, well, that's good for her, but my stuff's different? Like, would you encourage how would you encourage them to think about trying this work with me?
Honestly, I would never recommend anything other than EFT tapping with you, because it's the most potent work, and it doesn't matter what is going on in your life, it will elevate you and it will shift you in ways that you couldn't even imagine. And I from the bottom of my heart, I cannot get over how much you have changed the way that I think and the way that I function and the way that I can receive. And it was just, I couldn't recommend it enough, honestly. It's, you've shown me so many ways of living that are different to how I used to be. And it's been a magical journey. And I'm so glad I got to do it with you, because you are so bubbly and excited and enthusiastic and caring. And you just make me feel so safe. And you're just like a best friend. You're so just supportive and loving. And honestly, anyone would be silly not to work with you.